Sir.
So the last talk before the coffee is by Paulo Cirile. He is from the Island of TeX and also a good friend of me. So it's a pleasure to introduce him and introduce the TUG to the Island of TeX, I think. So it's yours.
So thanks, Tom. Hey guys, it's always a pleasure having the opportunity of talking in a TUG conference, and particularly today because I'm longing for so much to come into Germany and finally meet my old friends, make new friends, and well, very happy to be here, and especially talking about some of our projects at the Island of TeX. So a bit about myself. My name is Paulo, if you don't know me. I'm Brazilian, well, actually half Brazilian, half Italian. I work with theory of computation, and you've probably seen an awful lot of ducks recently. So as you can see, I'm a rubber duck enthusiast as well. And I'm a core member, I'm core team member at the Island of TeX, and I'm also a community outreach coordinator at Overleaf. Sorry. See? Sorry. So, I think, okay. So, at the Island of TeX, we always valued community over development base. So this is something that we always try to keep in mind when we're working on our own projects, and also to expand our own ideas. So this is pretty much the agenda for today's talk. I'd like to talk about some tools we have, talk about some news on our brand new community website, talk about our Docker images, see our improvements in our dedicated area for TeX packages, present some new islanders as well, and also share some exciting ideas we have for the future. So we have released a new version of a tool named Albatross. If you haven't heard of these two, it's basically a helper for you to find fonts that contain a certain glyph, a certain Unicode glyph. And just a trivia, if you're curious how we came up with the name, I had this Venn diagram here, so that's the reasoning on why we came up with Albatross. So, and now we have a proper logo. I think at some point we asked one of those AI models to generate an albatross holding a book. Well, to some extent, I think looks okay. And let's talk about some features of this new release, in case you don't know. We've done some redesigned border styles that might not seem that exciting, but if you pipe the output to other tools, that might be useful because you can have control on how the output is generated. We now feature something very interesting called which is the font lookup in the TeX tree. It was actually our first, I think, feature request. It was from Carl Berry. And we also now offer support for graphemes. It's quite curious that Joseph just mentioned graphemes two talks ago. So, of course, ducks are very good at doing those things. So if you've never used Albatross, you simply write the tool name and you add what you want to search. In this case, that Unicode code is an @set, if I'm pardon my German, and you can look up in the TeX tree. So you just include the TeX fonts, which will search all the fonts in your TeX tree and provide their results as well. Of course, we've done some caching, so subsequent calls should be way faster. And of course, at some point, you can even rebuild the cache for whatever reason. Well, Albatross can take input in 3 formats. So you can have the glyph itself. So if you know the Unicode code point, you can directly type that. You can use the hexadecimal notation which is of course it prefixed by 0x, and you can also use something we call the multiset unit, which is the U+. You guys probably seen that around. And well, Joseph just mentioned what a grapheme is, because of course it's a sequence of one or more code points that they are pretty much displayed as a single graphical unit. So consider this A with a null-out. So typically that can be represented either as a legacy single code point. You have in your font you have an entry for, and you have that glyph, which is an A with the null-out, or that can be base character A, in that case with the duress there. Okay, so now Albatross can look for that. So say if you have that Y with that symbol, in that case, that symbol is composed by 2 code points. So if you query that with Albatross, you end up with fonts that have both the Y and both that symbol that's put above, that's composable. And of course, if you just know that those code points and you search them directly, you obviously get the same result. And there's more actually. So now we are in the emoji emoji era. So consider this. This is a woman construction worker, medium light skin tone. So you say, oh, how if you use Slack or if you use Matrix or other tools that, for example, let you define, for example, the skin tone. You'll see something along those lines. So imagine, oh, that might be a power set of possibilities that I could like have an emoji. But no, it's actually a bit more complicated than that. So this emoji is composed by, first, the construction worker in itself, plus the female sign, so you have a female construction worker. Then you apply the medium light skin tone to it, and of course you also have to have this something called the ZWJ, which is the zero width joiner. So if you have those 4 elements, you're able to get that emoji. So if you see one of those emojis, even in web pages, not just one character, but it's a composition of all of these things. So if you try to query Albatross for that, you will get actually 5 Unicode code points, because if I'm not mistaken, the female sign takes 2 code points. So it's not just 4, it's actually 5. So Albatross will give the entire sequence. And of course, if you use the letter call, you'll get the same results. So that was the new fancy Albatross in a nutshell. And in other news, we've just released a new community website in which we meant to present the actual Island of TeX community to the wider public. That's the address in case you're wondering. The idea is we want to write our journal entries, which is a fancy name for blog posts. We want to collect our publications in just one single point. So if you want to see everything that was written and the video that we recorded about tools in the Island of TeX, you can go there. And of course, we want to inspire and engage new contributors at some point. So here's just the land page of the Island of TeX website. And of course, now it's typical for a website. We also offer a dark mode for it as well. This community website is hosted at GitLab. It is powered by a static website generator called Zola. And we actually have a script that takes all of the readmes from all of our projects and index them, so we don't need to manually update those references. It's done automatically. And we also use continuous integration, so any change we do, our website gets updated. Well, if you guys saw Ben Frank's early talk about our Docker images, we now have dedicated CI runners thanks to Vit MRI, so we really appreciate. They're also islanders, and these improvements aim at giving more of a robust and reliable workflow for these images. Of course, we are working on some improved layering and as well as splitting by schemes. And I don't know if like too much, but I dare say the Island of TeX images are the most complete and comprehensible TeX-like Docker images available in the TeX ecosystem. Of course, you are encouraged, invited to build your own custom images, perhaps based on us, or even propose some improvements on our things. We now also have a dedicated area for TeX packages. We also call the TeX MF area in our project repository. So we now welcome those packages, and we have actually two right now. We have XKV, which is by Jonathan. Jonathan is Skillmon in the TeX chat room at Stack Exchange, so that caret was put there on purpose, so it's a nice reference, which is a collection of key value packages for TeX. And if you know Jonathan, you know that this implementation is insanely fast, because of course he favors performance. And we also have, now back to my university days, if you ever had to draw a Carnot map, now we have a package for that. It's written by Ben himself. Unfortunately, you see there's a warning sign that the package, I think it's broken. It was not my fault. Das ist nicht meine Schuld. If you want to contribute in some way, you want to take like to adopt this package, feel free as well. And of course, as I said, TeX packages are welcome. And another area I'd like to talk is that this very small core team we are supported by the help of experts all around the world. So everyone who has ever contributed to the Island TeX, this is my personal thank you to you guys. And we have two new guys there. We have Yukai working on the website and the documentation, and we have our own Sam Carter, who is helping us with some TeX packages. So the family is growing. So thank you everyone who contributed to our little island. And I also want to thank everyone who's not explicitly listed here. So let's talk a bit about exciting ideas for the future. So one of the things that we are really interested in is performance. We want things that work really fast, that they are reliable. So we take into consideration, we take response time, we take also memory and CPU consumption, as well as error handling. So just to give you guys an idea of what things we do, we had two revisions from our implementation of the font lookup in the TeX tree for Albatross. So you can see we went from 15 seconds to 8 to, well, let's say 9. There's still a long way to go, but we like to reduce those numbers as well, because of course, you know, you have to read the entire TeX tree, you need to read those fonts and whatnot, but we also are interested in offering a good experience to our users. We also have an interesting tooling. Right now we are leaning towards Kotlin multi-platform projects in which we could target different architectures, different operating systems. We have Kotlin native, which aims at generating binary codes according to the platform you're running. We also did some experiments with GraalVM native, which tries to generate native binaries from jar files, from Java typical executable files. And we have like a dream yet to come through. It's to oxidize the island and write a couple of Rust-based tools there as well. And of course, we want to target all the main operating systems, as well as having the JVM as a fallback, like in the case we're not able to cover them. But we also have some interesting targets as JavaScript and WebAssembly, mainly for some libraries that we're working on, especially KeepTech, which is a brand new BeepTech parser. We still work in progress, but we hope to have it generated and be available, for example, if you want to parse things on a website, or you can use even in Node.js just in case. Sorry. These are some preliminary experiments we did which we did with native image from GraalVM. We actually managed to generate a binary code for Albatross, so we would not need to rely on a Java virtual machine. The result was good, but I think the status is it works on my machine. That's it. When we put that on production on CI, for whatever reason, it didn't work as we expect, but I was able to successfully generate that in my machine. Maybe the operating system I use it's way better than the CIs, but that's beyond the point. We also want to favor user experience in the tools that we write. Mainly concentrate on usability, consistency, and adaptability. If we put this in a triangle, we pretty much want like a good UX interface. It has to be clear and simple. It has to be intuitive and as well as enjoyable, and it has to be useful, and this is something that I really love, which it has to be equitable in the sense that both newbies and experts can enjoy the tool in the same way. So you pretty much lower the barrier between like the tech experts and people that are just enjoying the fun in the tech ecosystem. And we're also trying to work on the visual identity of our community, especially for brand recognition. We want people to know what the Island of TeX is. We want to look more professional, so that gives a lot of credibility to the things that we do. We want to keep like the visual identity to help us have cohesion and consistency. So you can go from one project to the other, and you can see, oh, those guys really keep the same layout. They talk the same thing, so it's consistent across our projects. And we also want to help spread community engagement. So basically, we want to focus on typography. Of course, we want to have a nice color palette. We want to have some creative design. We want to work on some of our logos, the imagery, and as well as other graphic elements. So time for asking for help. So we want a custom theme for presentations, such as this one that we are using. We plan a website redesign. We want to have landing pages for each one of our projects, and we want to have updated documentation. And if you're interested, you can read this blog post, which is called On the Road Towards a New Visual Identity. It's an interesting read, just in case, so you guys can see what's our plans for the near future. Okay, let's just glance over our projects, things that we want to conquer. And of course, hopefully there's a bright future ahead of us. Okay, I think our main project is Zarada, which was a tech complete tool. You guys been hearing me talk about this tool like from 10 years non-stop. And we want to achieve a couple of things in that. Mainly we want to move away from YAML, which was a bad, like a 1 billion mistake from my part, but Anyway, we want to move from YAML to Lua, proper Lua scripting. And spoilers, if you use the latest version, there's a secret Lua compiler on that. The problem is no one reads documentation, as David always says. So, but it's written there that there's actual Lua compiler in that. And we want to finally move away from strict Java-based approach and want to have code that is spread accordingly to other platforms. And we also plan on doing some concurrent automation. We even work on some sort of topological path approach to manage that concurrency, and we want to be as modular as possible. Regarding Albatross, we would like a better interface, enhanced interface. We like to improve caching. We believe things can be better, way better. We want to have our own query language, because right now you just can search for glyphs, but we collect way more than just the code points in the font. So if you want to know, oh, I like this glyph, but I want it to be bold, you can query that. You can check, for example, the ligatures. What are the ligature properties that I have here? So we want to have a proper query language in which you could write that and say, I want these characteristics, these proper characteristics for my fonts. So that's something that we want. And I think Boris also wrote to us, he suggested us to have a nice export format. For example, if you want to have Albatross to output JSON, CSV, and well, you name the format, because nowadays we usually pipe the tools we have, because you have tools that do just one job and do it well, so you simply pipe those comments together. So those things are in our radar. Regarding TechDoc Online, which is, of course, the online documentation lookup system, we would like to have a redesigned front end. This is something I think it's very interesting for the community, because we want to have feedback and analytics. So imagine you want to see how many documents were queried, which ones were the top queried package, what package people are looking for in the documentation. We'd like to have a better optimization for our search engines, and hopefully we'll be able to have multiple tech live support. So I want to see the documentation for this package from, say, 3 releases ago. So you could do a historical search. For check sites, which is also featured in the companion, so thanks again, Frank. We're planning a couple in rewrite. We have KeepTech, which is our BibTech parser. It works, but we still need to validate. Probably we will validate against Nelson Bieb's brilliant BibTech collection, which is fantastic. We would like to do some interface implementation as well as JavaScript targeting. Well, regarding TechPlate that Ben just mentioned, we would like to do some heavy code refactor. We need to do some interface redesign. We would like to have better scripting support, and of course, maybe to help people generate their own templates, have a graphical user interface. And if you're interested in seeing what we need help in our Docker images, you guys can just watch Ben's talk that happened earlier. And also we have an interesting new project. It's incubated right now, but we would like to have a management tool for tech installations. So, but it's just in the early stage. We need to define scope statement, API, endpoint design. We need to actually write code for the backend, and we would like to have a proposal for the interface. And that's what we actually want to achieve. So I would like to ask you guys, if you like tech, if you see some missing pieces in the tech ecosystem, or if you want to start contributing to open source software in a very welcoming environment, of course, we would love to hear from you. And anyway, let it be via email of our issues. You can contact us on Matrix, and even here in the coffee break, just poke us. We'd love to hear from you. Of course, the island is always open. You can go there as a tourist, you can go that as a regular visitor, or maybe you can even buy a house there and may become a new resident. Of course, as Ben said, visas for the island are free and easy to get. Of course, Island of TeX is hosted at GitLab, and you can always join our community chat on Matrix. And I think that's it. Well, I don't think I have any other major announcements, but I think that's it. So, as usual, cheerio.
Just before I open the questions, thanks, Paulo. And one comment. You don't need to be an animal to join the Island of
Oh,
TeX.
yes, thank you.
Thank you for all the ideas. Do you have plans for a web interface over Albatros? Where you could just copy and paste a glyph and then get the fonts?
Well, currently Albatros does some heavy usage of font config to do the lookup. It works well right now, but we had to do some clever use of concurrency to make things work. Maybe in the future we might try our own system to query fonts, like a modern implementation, but it's something that we could always discuss. I think we are very open to improvements and whatnot, but it can be in our radar at some point. Yes, definitely. But by the way, guys, if you want to get some island stickers, there's a lot there, so please, I don't want to take them home. So if you guys want to get one, feel free.
More questions or comments? Sorry, more questions or comments? Yeah, Joseph.
In terms of the final idea you had about a system for managing tech installations, I wonder, as a person with a Mac, I'm wondering how that relates to what, there's already a tool on the Mac that does exactly that type of thing for Mac Tech. To what extent is the overlap, or are you being inspired? Or I see that Ben's desperate to answer me, I think, but.
So about this management tool for tech installations, it's more like we want to have something that is a combination of install TL and TL manager, which, like many programming languages, have something like that, and which also has the option to pull different different ways of getting tech onto your machine, so either the Docker images or the actual native installation. So quite a flexible version, or even MikTeX, because MikTeX is also cross-platform nowadays. So it's a viable option. So we want to make it easy to choose your poison and even just take what you want and maybe try different things.
And that's why we still need the scope statement, so we know what we'll do and what we'll not. Because when Ben and I were talking about this too, we want to achieve some wild things, like even having a proper way of managing your tech tree. So, for example, let's install this package, like fetch from Citan, but not directly in the distro itself, but maybe in my personal tree, or like walking the extra mile along those lines. But we still need to have that scope statement so we know exactly what will be done. Otherwise, we simply open like a lot of branches and won't be able to close we won't be able to close any of those. So that's why we are still in the shaping phase, I would say.
Okay, thank you. More questions? Yeah, Joseph again.
Ducks are very good at questioning.
So I think I can keep the second mic with Ben, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Obviously, Avara is your sort of headline product, and you've gone through a few iterations with the interface for what users use, and you've now, I see the sort of YAML to Lua plan. I'm wondering, do you have a sense about how many users you have, and therefore how much impact, how much stress you're going to have managing a change?
That's actually a good question. I think I actually don't. I know Arara is very popular here in Germany. I think Germans really enjoy like automating things, so I think that's a plus. But it's I think at some point it would be nice to learn more about get some statistics, to hear about our users, because I think one possible way to find out how many users use a tool is to break the tool. So you see how many. Yeah. So exactly, that's a good way. So people will reach out to you like with pitchforks and like no. I think that would be a good way. But that's on the radar as well, yes.
Cool. Any more questions? I actually want to second Jeremy's idea. I think that maybe not for system fonts, but for LaTeX fonts, like fonts that come with TeX Live, having an online tool for searching glyphs would be very useful. So maybe not, if you just search the TeX Live fonts and had that on techlive.net, for example, that itself could be very useful, because that means the font and the glyph is available in every TeX Live installation also, so you don't have to rely on system fonts, which I think is very nice. So that's just one suggestion about Albatros Online.
Maybe to answer that one, we also plan on tech.org, which runs this tech.org online software, to get tech dev support in there. So if you run tech dev or LaTeX dev online, and so we are already planning to expand the backend, and it would be possible to run font config there as well, because it actually runs the Docker container which contains it. So, interesting feature request.
Cool. Any more questions or comments? If not, then thanks, Paolo, again.
Thank you, guys.